Hey guys, again, it's been a while since I did the last video from obviously connected to the channel, and since that time obviously we've lost our Queen of 70 years, Elizabeth, may she rest in peace, and we have a new king, King Charles III. So obviously we've had that happen since my last update on Mustache. So I thought I'd do another one because I managed to get a few more in. And as you can see, the pile at the back there since my last video, if I move the camera around, has gone down significantly. And as you can see on the TV, I'm just catching up with today's events on Big Jet TV, whereby Virgin actually took delivery of their very first A330-900 Neo from Toulouse. So Jerry was at Toulouse, which is Airbus's factory, and actually had another fellow streamer at the other end at Heathrow for the aircraft's arrival there. So I'm just in the midst of watching that. I've just started it because unfortunately it was on when I was at work, so I didn't get to see it. So yeah, there you go. And also I've reorganised my stash because some of it is now, oops, hang on, I've done that the wrong way round. I'm just gonna set the camera around, move it a little bit. So there you go. As you can see, I'll just take the cameras down, reorganised all my stash in this corner here. To add any additions that I should get in the future. And obviously I'll get some more storage boxes. I'm just going to turn the camera around now. So here we are, I'm back again. So what have we had in? Well, few vintage classics, a few eBay wins, and obviously a few new releases. So we'll see. We'll just start with a reissued vintage classic, and it's one I've been trying to get hold of for years, and I'm glad they reissued it. In fact, I think it came out the earlier part of this month. It's Airfix's, oh, I've just dropped one, Little Beagle Basset. I just love this little iconic scheme because they were used as little station hacks for transporting principally V-bomber crews. I think that's what they were actually brought into the Air Force for. Unfortunately, the actual company Beagle went into liquidation, and then eventually the Air Force sold all their Beagles off to private operators, and I'm not sure if there's still any flying to this day. I'm not sure, but it's a lovely looking little aircraft all the same. The next one is an old classic, which unfortunately is no longer in production, but I'm hoping that maybe Airfix and their infinite wisdom, or Hornby as they are parent companies now, may well reissue this in their New Year Vintage Classics of 2023. It is, of course, an old helicopter that used to fly out of a local airbase when I used to live at Guildford, alongside the Wessex, which obviously was my last project that I was building before I moved. And I thought, well, eventually I needed to get the actual co-partner squadron of 230 squadrons, SA330 Puma, and I managed to get hold of one, and I won that on an auction on eBay for about, what, I think it was about 25 quid, which isn't bad because a lot of these go a lot more excessive these days. And what I will do is actually hunt out an aftermarket interior kit and do it up a bit like I've done so with the my past project, the Wessex, which I hope to resume as and when I am in larger accommodation and back on the bench again. And then after my first project, I will get back onto that and build that. So it'll look nice in a little diorama alongside the Wessex. So there you go. Next on the agenda, because this is a little bit of an Airfix stash, bar one, and this bar one is one of an aircraft which I've often wanted in my stash alongside some of the old classic aircraft. It wasn't that successful and didn't prove to be as successful as the Air Force had hoped, and it was only in service for a short number of years until the Hunter came in to replace it, although it did come in to service at the same time as the Hunter. But as I say, it was underpowered, it didn't really prove successful, and eventually it was replaced with more Hunters. This one's Tester's old Swift K4. I've had a look at it. It is a bit of a rough old kit. Admittedly, it does need a lot of work. There's no detail on the undercarriage bays, unlike the old Airfix kit, which you'd have to pay a fortune to get hold of these days. And I got this for about, what, less than a £5, and obviously I know why. So as and when I get around to building this, I might well just do it in flight mode and see what I can do to upgrade it. But classic iconic fighter of the 50s all the same. And if you see this is backwards, it's because I've had to swivel the camera back around to yours truly, so you'll have to bear with me again. So there you go. And these two actually used to fly together on the air show circuit during the 60s. One of them was actually the precursor to the Red Arrows, and this is the 1/72 Follow Nat T1 Yellowjacks. I've got this for less than a £5 again, off a seller on eBay. And obviously I had to get the Hunting Percival Jet Provis T4 and the Red Pelicans scheme as well, because these two used to fly alongside each other at air shows in the 60s. So classic training jets, all the same. I'm glad I got them in my stash. And then obviously the next one is another Cold War classic aircraft. Now the first time I got this kit, I was going to build it for a group build, the GB group build, and the one I actually got was short molded, sadly, so I couldn't continue with the project, which was a shame because I got an aftermarket detailed cockpit set which actually made it, well, what's the word, pop with detail. So thankfully, again, I managed to get this off an eBay seller because he was selling off his stash, and it is of course the 1/72 McDonnell Douglas Phantom FGR2. Now again, I'm hoping to do this in the all cock and brown scheme, which was a green and common in, I think, 1979, because I've still got the decal set for it, and I'll probably again get the aftermarket set for the cockpit as well, because it's just such a classic iconic Cold War fighter. So there you go. This one I've been itching to get for a year or so. I've got the Dam Buster variant, and they actually reissued the Lank yet again, and this time they've done it as the B Mark III, as you can see there in the actual markings of S for Sugar, which is actually at the Royal Air Force Museum. Although you can do another aircraft which was based at a nearby Lincolnshire bomber base, to I think Flixton or Dishforth, I can't remember, but it's got a significant sort of red tail. I think there was was it 65 Squadron? Can't remember. But at some stage I will do an inbox review of this. Again, like the Dam Buster variant, it's beautifully detailed and will make for a lovely addition to the stash, which means I've now got 3 Lanks in my stash. The Dam Buster variant, the B2 with the the Hercules engines, and the ubiquitous B3. So there you go. So I'm glad I got that one. Anyway, following on for that, I've got a number of airliner kits in 1/144th. This one I was going to put in my last addition to my stash, but unfortunately I totally forgot about it. So I thought, right, when I do the next one, I'm going to include it. Again, these are a few Zvezda kits, and the detail on them is beautiful. This is of a little regional Russian airliner. It's quite a new aircraft. It's the Superjet 100, not too dissimilar to the old A310, A320, particularly with the nose at the front there, or the Embraer 190. You know, it's in that regional range, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to see if I can get some alternative decals for this. You know, primarily it's only actually flying in Russia, but if there was any sort of Balkan countries that do it, and I'll see if I can hunt out the appropriate decals for it. So there you go. Next one up, famous old Boeing, the old 737. One of two, and again another one I forgot to include in my stash, but this one I'll go through first. This one is the Boeing 737-800 with the upturned winglets either side. Now I can and will get the Ryanair markings for this kit. If not that, I might have a look and see what else, maybe Jet 2 or somewhere like that. I might do, because that's quite a nice colourful colour scheme, and they actually fly out of Manchester quite a bit. Whereas Ryanair, I think, fly out of Luton, Stansted, and Manchester, and Gatwick. So yeah, it's got some lovely, it looks like it's got some lovely details you can see on the back there. Very much to scale, and then you can actually get some aftermarket set, edge brass set for this as well. So yeah. And then obviously beside that, I had to get the, which I got about 2 months ago, was the 737-8 Max, with those distinctive winglets. I'm thinking of possibly doing this in either the Polish lot scheme or Air Canada. I might go for the latter, which is the Air Canada scheme. So yeah, so we should wait and see. Following on from that, I've actually managed to get 3 very iconic aircraft. It's actually still issued by Revell. It has been going for quite a while. 144th Concorde. Now I've not only got 1, but I've got 2, and I've got 3 Revell kits. Now the reason being is because I'm actually going to do it in the 3 colour schemes that BA actually have had this aircraft in. I'm going to do one in the Negus scheme, which might be the post-production, pre-production aircraft, which was used to tour the world before they shortly entered service. And I was actually had the privilege of queuing up on her when I was only 10 years old. That was Golf Bravo Bravo Delta Golf, which is now actually based at the Brooklands Museum. So yeah, when I went back to it, in fact it was when I was recuperating from a heart attack, about 3 weeks after I'd had my operation, I took myself off to Brooklands, and lo and behold, an old friend was there, Bravo Bravo Delta Golf. So I'm hoping to actually convert the registration to that and do a Negus scheme as her. Now I know there is a company in Ukraine that actually does the super detail set, so I may well just super detail that one up, and the others I'll just do straight out the box, because I'm going to do the other 2 in the Landor scheme, which you saw on the box shot. I might also do, and then I'll do the other one in the current Trafalgar scheme, which is the one she was retired on. But I'm also thinking of getting 3 more Revell kits. I'm not going to get the Airfix one because the price of that is just ludicrous at £35, and it's very basic, so I can't justify paying out £35 for, well, a reissued kit, to be honest with you, although the Airfix kit is slightly better. But having said that, I've actually got an old Airfix kit of the Concorde, again, which was being flogged off by a seller who was getting rid of his stash. And there she is, in the Trafalgar scheme on Alpha Foxtrot. So I've got 4 Concordes in my stash. I'm hoping to get 3 more. Because the reason being is I want to do the Air France version. There is a decal sheet you can get from a company based in France of the delivery scheme, which was in the old Air France colour scheme, you know, with that distinctive sort of white and blue lime. And then obviously the updated Air France scheme, which was the actual scheme she was retired in. And there's also a colour scheme for when they actually promoted Pepsi, because they actually painted one whole Concorde in blue with the Pepsi sign at the back and the Pepsi sign on the sides of the fuselage. So those are future projects that I've got in mind. So there you go. And I think by then I'll have about, because I've got one of the reissued prototype, and I might get another one of that, because I might do one in the Boex scheme, and you can actually get some aftermarket decals of the prototype colour scheme as well. So in all, I probably have 8 Concords in my stash. Whew. And that's a lot of Concords, considering 7 of them were in service with BA. So there you go. I think it was about 14 that went into service in the end, or was it 15? I can't remember. If anybody knows, just put a comment in the comments column at the end of this video. So there you go. At the moment I've got 4, I need to get 4 more. Following on from that, another classic old airliner. It was an old workhorse right through from the 1960s to, I think, up to the early 2000s as a passenger airliner, and I think it's mainly used now as a cargo aircraft, and it's fitted with hush kits. I think there's 1 or 2 still flying. However, I have heard there are a few in Africa that may be still being used as passenger aircraft. I might be wrong. But this is the old ubiquitous, and I promised myself I was going to get the 200 model. If you can look at back on my from my stash edition 6 months ago, I said I got the 100 and wanted the 200 of the 727. Well, I managed to pick one up. It's the old Minicraft version. Now, I saw this and I thought, I love that colour scheme. That's quite a distinctive colour scheme. But I'm sort of tired because I've actually got a decal set of one in the old BA scheme, because they, I think, bought out Dan Air, and BA bought out Dan Air, and obviously they had a few 200s. And they actually, I did come across the decal sheet in the current BA scheme of it in that, which is interesting. So that's probably where I'm actually going to end up doing it, although I am a little bit in 2 minds about doing it in this colour scheme, because it is quite colourful, and there's an illustration on the side of the box of it all built up, so it does look really nice. So yeah, but I might later on get another 200 if Airfix reissue it next year from their classic airline vintage range. I'm going to grab one. So yeah, possibly do it in the old either Iberia scheme or the Lufthansa scheme with the old Stork Speedbird at the back, because it did look very attractive in that colour scheme. So I actually remember from when I used to go aircraft spot in the Queen's Building, used to see a lot of the old 727s up there. Yeah, there you go, an old classic. Right, last 2 aircraft. This one I have forgotten to feature in, and I'm going back 6 months, in my additions to my stash. It's an Eduard one I actually won on an eBay bid. I don't think you can get hold of this one now. It is, of course, Messerschmitt Bf 109 E3, and what attracted me to it was this colour scheme. Although you do have the option of doing it with the old yellow nose, which I think maybe Adolf, oh no, it's Josef Prilla's aircraft, old Pips Prilla, that one there. Or you've got the original Splinter camouflage, but this one with the white nose and the white tail is quite unusual. So that could be an unusual option I might go for. But when it gets nearer to the build at the time, I'll have a look. And obviously it's a Profi pack as well, so it comes with all the goodies in that one. But yeah, there you go. So that's another 109 I've got my stash. And another classic iconic fighter of the time when that one was flying, the old Spitfire Mark 1A. This is Eduard's weekend edition, and I think you've got a number of colour schemes on this one. You've got a few early 1940 schemes, I think a couple of Dunkirk bird schemes, which I won't be doing. I'm actually going to do a Battle of Britain colour scheme. I'll either do that one, which is depicted on the box art, or go for that one. But I think I'm going to go for that one there, because that's the more traditional Battle of Britain colour scheme. So yeah, and that is all my aircraft. Now I've got 3 bits of armour. Yes, I have still getting some armour in, and a set of figures to go with it. Now the first one, I did have a moustache before I moved from Ascot a couple of years ago, and as obviously to fund my move I had to regretfully sell it, but I've managed to get it back again, and I'm glad I did. Now I did think of getting the rifled kit with the interior, but the price they're asking for it now is just excessive. So I decided to go for the old traditional Tamiya kit, and I managed to get it. It's the assault mortar tank, 38mm assault mortar tank, the Sturm Tiger. And I might do that in a Dio where it's been abandoned, and you've got US soldiers looking over it. So that could be the basis of a good Dio on that, and obviously you can actually get some Zimmerit for this actual kit. It's like a decal sheet from Tamiya, so I might look into that. And obviously with the tracks, they are link to link, and if I don't have any success on them, then I might go for some metal for all tracks possibly, and use them. But yeah, it should make for an interesting project, that one. So there you go. And talking of tigers, I've got another one. And this one, I was going to get the Tamiya kit, but I saw this one on a deal and I snapped it up through Mike Jolly Hobby, Hobbies. So, and talking of Mike, unfortunately, sadly, he just recently lost his mother. So Mike, if you're watching, my friend, my sincere condolences to you and your family at this difficult time. Okay, and my thoughts, like many of us modelers, are with you as well. And yeah, as I say, Mike did a good deal on this one, and I snapped this one up. I had my eye on it for quite some time since it was announced. I think at the latter part of last year. It's is it? Hang on, let me see. Yeah, it's the Tacoms Jagdtiger 2-in-1. Does look a brute of a kit, and a brute of a beast. It's obviously modelled on the old King Tiger's chassis, except it's got an anti-tank gun fitted on the back. Unfortunately, they were very unreliable as regards mechanics, because obviously it was the same old engine they used in the Tiger 1, and with the weight of the vehicle, it used to take too much strain on it sometimes, and they would constantly break down. But it did pack a punch when it needed to. So yeah, and I think it was Otto Karas' final mount of the Second World War as well. But I've had a look at the kit. Beautiful, beautiful detail on it, and it does look as though it's going to make a beast of a kit as well. And finally, Greg Riley actually did an inbox review on this one, and this is another initial Tiger by Ryefield. It's the one with the camo, winter camo, which is was used during the Battle of Leningrad. Now, previously I had built a Tiger for the Battle of Leningrad in the old Dragon kit. You can still get hold of that, but that is about twice the price now, and it's very rare to get hold of. So when this was announced, I snapped it up, because the actual initial, I did love building that. So there you go. And alongside that, I thought of getting some figures which actually are based on the Battle of Leningrad, and funnily enough, they are actually issued by Dragon. Now, it's not often I've got buy figures now to go with my armour, and I did have quite a stash, but I've bought one or two, but obviously as and when I move, I will actually invest in a few more figures. So we shall see that. And finally, we go to the side of motorsport. And I saw a fellow modeler on the Live the Bench when they were going through what you're buying, and it's a classic old Formula One car, and it apparently it does actually come with some H brass. It's a reissued of Tamiya's. It's the Tyrrell P34 six-wheeler. This is based upon the one that was used in the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix, which was driven by Patrick Depailler and his well-known teammate, who later became world champion, Jody Scheckter. I mean, I was thinking of getting the one that they had based at my, I think, Monaco with the white top, but I think this is more traditional to the old Tyrrell scheme, to be honest with you. And I'm glad I got it. I mean, the only other Formula One car I've got in my stash is in storage at a friend of mine's, probably his name's Stuart as well, is the old Williams FW16, which, as you well know, was Ayrton Senna's last mount before he was killed. And that's actually based on the actual car that sadly he was killed in at Imola. But this is of happier times, and then obviously an earlier age back in the 70s. In fact, 76 was a classic year because it was that year with the battle between Niki Lauda and the late great James Hunt, and this actually took part in that race where James became world champion. And if anybody's seen the film Rush, this is also featured in it as well, so look out for that. So there you go, that is my latest additions to my stash. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will try and do an inbox review at some stage, possibly in the next week or so, as and when I get free time. I might, if I get time on Monday, upload another one for you guys. Okay, sorry I'm not doing any building, but as I say, as I've explained time and time again, where I'm currently living, I just don't have the space for all the tools, the paints and everything like that. Much as I'd ideally love to get back to building, and I know you're all aching to see me build again, just bear with me. As and when the time comes, I will get back building. Until then, it's just going to be inbox review after inbox review after inbox review, and even then there's going to come a stage when I can't do any more, because obviously I have to watch my space I've got, and I don't want to abuse my landlord's trust which he's put in me. So, and he has been good. He's been extremely patient with me, more so than my previous landlord. Yeah, I could tell you a long story about that, but I won't. But anyway, until the next time, stay safe, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and before I go, I'm keeping my fingers crossed this year that my brother is not going to have to work on the weekend of Telford. Now, I'm hoping also that I've booked the right week off, because I can't remember. I think I may have booked the wrong week off, which is the week before Telford, but I'm hoping that I've not, because I really want to get to Telford this year, catch up with you guys, meet up with you guys. Paul and the gang. Sadly, Phil's not going to be there because he doesn't feel it's financially viable for them to be there this year. Hopefully, Phil, that you'll be back next year. We will wait and see. But I'm sure many of the guys I've always met up with, including Guido Hop, who hasn't been to Telford in quite some years, will be there. And fingers crossed, guys, hopefully I'll be there too, along with my brother Neil, and I'll try and make a point of coming in and saying hello if I get time. Okay, but I will let you know and confirm if I will be there in due course, because I know it's only just over a month away. In fact, I think it's less than a month away. I think it's looking at 3 to 4 weeks now before Telford is on. So there you go. So there we are. Anyway, as I say, in the meantime, stay safe, keep well, keep fit, look after your families, be careful out there, and get kit crazy. And I will speak to you soon. Cheers.